Hey everyone, happy Tuesday, February 28th, last day of the month in this non-leap year. Maybe next year will be a leap year. I'm not really sure. I think it probably is, but just to guess. I don't really know. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's the big news of the day. Except for now, I'm 2 months into my workout habit. It's actually 2 months and 5 days because I started on my birthday. But it's nice to have 2 complete months after today, anyway. During which I have done training, usually weight training, sometimes running. Doug, how's it going today?
Hey, Matt. Good morning. Happy non-leap year day.
Yeah. You want to have a little echo here. Okay. Fixing something. Trying to sorting out audio issues.
All right.
Okay. I think we're good. I'm a little worried
Great.
about Instagram bleeding into my mic. I'm gonna go ahead and put the headphone in there. But
We've got people streaming in on Instagram and on YouTube. A quick reminder to all of our Instagram folks: if you're watching on Instagram, you can stay there if you want to, or you can move over to YouTube where the quality is better, the sound was better, and we can share articles. So it's that's youtube.com/NoMeatAthlete.
and the chat is better because most people
And
are
the chat
choosing
is
to
better.
do
That's
that.
right.
So it's more action over there. Get overlays on the screen. We could change the screen setup, Doug. We can put ourselves like side to side on top of each other. We can put
so much
animations on the screen, graphics, draw on the screen. I think all kinds of things we could do if we want.
So many options.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, let's see what's new, Doug. It's fantastic weather today. It feels like it's springtime. I kind of need to wish I was outside. So might have to make that happen somehow.
I know. I just went outside for a minute right before the show and was feeling the same way. Maybe we should take this outdoors for an episode or two because I don't know, spring. I've got the spring bug for sure.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I love that spring bug. Spring bug is a good feeling. Better than like the fall bug that comes along. Something about when it just gets warm. I don't know. Positivity abounds. Jody Suck says Doug's video is always fuzzy for me, and she's over on YouTube. The past few times, let's say for the past week, that has been the case a lot. So I'm not sure what is the deal there, Doug. You might need to get Charter Communications to come out to your house and try to fix it, or whoever does it.
We might need to do something here.
We need to send another angry tweet Doug like you did that one time.
Exactly. Matt, so I will thank you, Jody and Kate and Anne Marie, and everyone else who's saying so. I will see if I can. I'll see if I can get that fixed.
Okay.
I did want to call out after yesterday's show. I was inspired to do a mid-afternoon workout. Went on for a run, took a little lunch break run, went for a run in the afternoon, and I gotta say, I'm standing by my statement yesterday that running in the afternoon is the worst.
Yeah, just not a good time for running.
No, I was too tired. I was sluggish. It just didn't go well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I don't feel like running at that time ever. Like I said, at the end of the workday, I don't know, a little early end of the workday, 3, 5. Like I remember when I was 100-miler training, it would always be like around 3 o'clock. I had to get out there. It'd be very hot, but I always enjoyed that. It was like a nice little transition into the rest of the day. But I hear you. If it's sort of in the middle of your day, still, that's pretty tough. I did this somewhat early workout yesterday too. I did. I'm in this still testing. First, I thought my program was requiring me just to test 1 rep max, so that I could design the program. Then I realized it's more than that. You also test your 5 rep max, and you can't do that within a couple of days of testing the 1 rep max. And then you need to test a couple of days later how many reps you can get at 80% of your 1 rep max. So all these things you need to know before the weights get selected. But it's really tiring. It's really killing me. And now I'm like really sore because I did a bunch of squats the other day. So I did more of that yesterday, and I did it early. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, is this a good time to work out or not? And I kind of liked it. It actually was fine.
Yeah, you didn't have a heart attack?
Didn't have a heart attack. No,
that's good. Yeah, I mean, I did my Tuesday morning group run this morning, and even at 5:30, even after a poor night of sleep because of some crazy wind that we had last night, I still just felt so much better than I did yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, well, got to know what works for you, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, I guess so.
Different people stay up different hours. Speaking of sleep, I think I've been saying that my Ooler device that cools the bed isn't probably needed. Well, one of them broke, Aaron's, and they're not good at like customer service apparently. So I haven't even tried to because we got them over a year ago, so they're not going to fix it or refund it or anything. And the thing was expensive for the queen size version of it. So I just switched Aaron's to mine because I thought she's more concerned about the heat than I am. The coolness of the bed. She'll wake up from the heat more easily than I will. But man, I woke up really hot last night without that thing. So I've been saying my sleep success recently is entirely due to the staying up late thing, and that I thought that solved everything. But I think that coolness is really important, to be sleeping in a cool environment. I kind of thought this before, and then I started to come off it. But after last night, I'm like, man, you have to be cool while you're sleeping.
Is it cool as like you actually want to be cool, or cool outside, like on your face, that kind of thing, but cozy underneath the blankets?
No, I think you want your body temperature to be low. So I think, I don't think cozy is good. I don't know. I mean, I like it, but I do think I like it for falling asleep, but then I think it wakes you up. But that's why these things are good, because you can set them to fall asleep and warm, and then it gets cool once you're asleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's evolving story there. Anne Marie says they say 65 to 67 degrees. Yeah, that's what they say, and that is colder than most people's house. At least colder than my house typically would be at night.
Yeah, but then would you if it's set to 67 or something, which is where we keep ours? But I lay underneath a couple blankets, so my body is definitely not exposed to the 67, except for maybe my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know about that. I've wondered that myself before. They always say put the room temperature to that, but they don't say put the room temperature to that and stay outside the blankets. So I don't know.
Okay.
But if you've got the room temperature higher than that and you got blankets, I think it's probably too much.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's that. So not a great sleep for me, but it was okay. And man, I'm just so grateful that my sleep has been so much better the past a month and a half now. I don't know. My wellness is drastically higher than it was a few months ago because of the working out and the sleeping. I'm sure of that. And my eating is good too. Everything's pretty good.
That's good, Matt.
It is good. Now I got to cut out that pesky alcohol. That's my damp second half of February didn't materialize either. Maybe I'll go for a damp March.
Well, I don't know spoilers, but we might be trying to do some sort of dry or damp challenge on Compliment in the coming months. So that would be a good opportunity for you to do it.
Definitely would. All right, good. Any other news or goings on before
Hospitable Scott asks, how's the Discord setup going?
It isn't. It is not going at all. I haven't started that. We did look into some other tech change today, but that's not happening. So hopefully Discord will be. Not hopefully. Discord, we will have some news by the end of this week. It might be ready, but right now have not started yet.
Yes, but it is a priority. We're not dropping this ball.
Yes. Yep. All right. So that's that. Anything else? Anybody else asking questions or anything before we jump in? No. Steven yesterday sent me a suggestion for a reel. Again, I'll remind people, if there's a funny part of the show that you think would be a good little 5 or 20 second or 30-second segment for reels, we have someone who's making them now. So we just need to give her content. So send us ideas. Plant-Based Morning Show on Instagram. DM us stuff, please, because that will help us grow this thing. Great. Okay. All right. Are we ready to jump in? There's a pretty good weather report today. I'm pretty excited about some of this. It's just some interesting stuff. So you ready to jump in here, Doug? Pull this one up on the screen for us. All right. Yesterday we talked a bit about advertising, and we kind of slammed the Oatly goofy Philadelphia ad they did. Well, Silk is now doing their own version of an ad, and I think it's much better execution. They are kind of mimicking the dairy industry with these milk mustache ads, a Got Milk campaign. The headline from Veg News is the Got Milk campaign's Nepo babies want you to drink more vegan milk. I don't understand what that headline means. I understand what a Nepo baby is. I guessed it, that it had to do with nepotism, and then I looked it up, and sure enough, it did. And I saw that the people involved are Brooklyn Peltz Beckham Ella Blow Travolta, Miles O'Neill, as in Shaquille O'Neal. So these are children of famous people, and that's what a Nepo baby is. But why does it say the Got Milk campaign's Nepo babies? Because aren't they not from the Got Milk campaign, Doug?
No, no, they are from like David Beckham, Shaquille O'Neal. They did Got Milk, and so
Okay,
now
they did Got Milk.
their kids are saying this is the next milk, the next generation of milk.
Gotcha. So are they just rebelling against their parents and when they do this?
I mean, my guess
like,
is
is
that Shaquille O'Neal doesn't have actual doesn't have much of a preference towards cow milk. I think he probably just got paid a lot of money to put a mustache on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how upset they would actually. But we were slamming these ads, similar, not these ads like this from Oatly and even Burger King and other companies too. This one I really like.
Yeah,
I like this one a lot.
Had the exact same feeling. This is how you do a good ad, where it's like making a statement, and it's, I don't know, kind of mocks the original campaign, and for the modern world, use the kids of these old washed up celebrities. So much better than a turkey hotline or whatever Oatly set up, or that terrible Philadelphia thing they did yesterday. Yeah, I mean, this is good. So way to go, Silk. I like this. I'm going to start choosing Silk over Oatly whenever possible to show my support for this kind of advertising versus what Oatly is doing.
So here's my question. Is Next Milk a thing? Like, is that their new line of milk or something? Or are they just calling Plant Milk Next Milk?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe the new FDA regulations allow them to say milk instead of soy milk. So they're just calling it Next Milk. Although this silk is oat milk and plant-based blend, it says on the package.
Oh, say that again?
On the package, the picture of the silk cartons says Silk Next Milk, whole fat, oat milk and plant-based blend. So it doesn't say soy milk. Okay. I thought Silk was a soy milk company, but I guess they do others as well.
My guess is that they are coming up with a new product.
Perhaps.
So I don't know. I think it's brilliant. Everyone has their a memory, or anyone in our generation and older certainly has a memory of old Got Milk campaigns. And to have this kind of younger generation, more I don't know, just kind of putting some energy into plant milk. I think it's great. I think it's perfect. And the fact that it's the kids of these other celebrities better.
Right. And I have confirmed what we're talking. At least I looked up Shaq and David Beckham, and they have done Got Milk campaigns with the real milk back in the day. So I shouldn't say the real milk, with cow's milk back in the day. So yes, it's odd that, I don't know. I just can't find it in the article anywhere that says that. Of course, the headline does sort of make sense that that's what it means. But I read the article and did not find that tidbit that that's what they meant. Anyway, good for you, Silk. I like it. I'm a fan. Down with Oatly, I think, and up with Silk.
Unless they want to sponsor.
Yeah, right. And then all bets are off. And easily can change camps there.
Jeff Hudnall says we love Next Milk in our house. So I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know what are your experiences with it? I'd never even heard of it before.
Yeah. No, me neither. All right, on to the next. We've also talked, speaking of advertising, about McDonald's being trolled by Germany by Burger King in Germany when they brought out their nuggets. Well, there's more news here, and now it's accompanied by social media outrage, which always raises my sensors, and I get excited about what we might use for our show when there's social media outrage. It has ensued in Germany because it has emerged that neither of McDonald's new plant-based products are suitable for vegans nor vegetarians due to the sauces used in their preparation, and that the products may come into contact with animal flesh when prepared on the same grill. So that last part isn't new. That's what happens with the Impossible Whopper. It is on the same grill, I think. I don't know if there's any effort being made or not, but you should know when you order that it might be prepared on the same grill or griddle or whatever as the regular ones. So that sort of seems okay for me. I'm all right there. That's not additional animals being harmed. Yes, some of it does enter your body, but it's not animals being harmed for the purpose of the production of this food. when it's the sauces, which I don't quite know what this means. I don't know if these sauces means they come. I mean, is it what comes with the McPlant nuggets, or are the sauce actually in the nugget itself? I don't understand that. But apparently it is enough to outrage social media. So it must be something. And additionally, McDonald's has omitted the vegan burgers, Vegan Burger TS, and Fresh Vegan TS from their menus, citing low demand, exchanging them for the Beyond Meat products, with the burger apparently containing cheese and an egg-based sauce. I actually had a vegan TS or Fresh Vegan TS when I was in Germany. It was pretty good. But now they're removing it, which is odd. I don't know. When I was there, I was thinking, wow, like there's everywhere, just the vegan food just succeeds at all the fast food restaurants in here. So it's interesting to hear that like there is one where it's not, and it happens to be McDonald's, who's having the same issues over here with their McPlant, which failed.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the sauce thing, because if it's just what it comes with, like on the side, then you can just get ketchup or whatever. I don't see what the big deal is.
I kind of, I'm not sure why social media is outraged over that.
Yeah, because they're outraged over everything. But but it does raise an eyebrow though, because the McPlant in the U.S. was not actually vegan. It just seemed like it missed the mark on so many levels. So maybe they're doing the same thing here. They're trying to follow a trend, but not actually looking at
right
what the motivations are behind it. But
yeah,
but I don't know. Hard to tell. You never know with social media outrage.
No, you don't. And as I read that, I realized like social media's stock has fallen so much when like we read that social media outrage happened, and it's like it just means nothing, right? Like that happens over every possible thing. Their social media outrage. It just doesn't. It just cried wolf too many times. Social media.
Well, also headlines. I mean, we got to follow up the headlines here too, because social media outrage could mean that like there's 20 people in the comments saying that not that it's trending on Twitter, and then and there's a huge movement behind it. Like I hate reading articles that are like, so the backlash was huge on social media, and it turns out it's like a dozen people.
Right. All right, moving on. In Australia, they're doing cultivated meat. VOW has become the first cultivated meat company in the country to begin the regulatory approval process. And they're trying to get cultivated quail. They're going to call it morsel. Will be the name of the line.
Cultivated what?
Quail, like the bird that makes quail eggs. I don't know what a quail looks like at all. I just think quail eggs are really big, aren't they? Or maybe that's ostrich eggs.
Yeah,
I don't really know. But yeah, I guess they eat quail there. Leave it to those outbackers to eat quail. So anyway, so that's happening. I mean, kind of interesting.
I think quail is pretty small. I think of it as like a small bird.
Yeah, it looks pretty small when I Google it. Quail egg also looks small.
Pigeon.
It just has like spots on it. Looks like kind of like a mini dinosaur egg.
Where's Mr. Jeffrey when we need him here?
Yeah, where is he?
Kate says they're tiny. Quail and their eggs are small. Leslie.
Okay, so I was wrong with that. But I'm glad that they will be cultivated now, and hopefully replace the need for eating real quail. Just eat their cultivated version, which is the point.
There must be a reason why they're targeting quail, right?
I just literally figured it was Australians doing what they do. I don't know. Don't they eat other weird things too?
Vegemite?
Yeah, Vegemite. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. And finally, Doug, you're not going to like this one. Eat Just Inc., who makes, in addition to Just Eggs, they also make a cultivated meat brand that they now sell over in Singapore. But they are cutting back 18% of the jobs in its plant-based egg division. That's Just Egg, Doug. That's yours. It's your Sunday brunch food. In order to help reduce costs, the company says the demand is growing, strong and growing, but the product portfolio currently not profitable. So that is not great. That's it. That's the weather report. Back to you in the studio, Doug.
I got to say, Matt, I'm pretty disappointed about this Just Egg news. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not really bad news for anybody except for the people who work there. But hopefully that's not a sign of more cuts to come, because
or
we're just fans.
If they start cutting corners as far as the production and make it worse, or the price goes up, a lot of things could happen. But I mean, I think with the economy, probably a lot of businesses are happening. This is happening. We just keep hearing it about plant-based companies. It's probably happening everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely.
including compliment, maybe.
What?
No, not really at all. Just made that up.
You can't announce something like that.
I just joke because like you work for Compliment. So I was just trying to get you riled up.
Oh yeah, and like half of their employees are on the on the feed right now. Rumors are flying.
No,
Social media is outraged.
no downsizing coming that I know of. All right, on to the real stories, Doug. I happened to find one in your newspaper of choice, the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness, they say.
That's right.
The headline is swapping pasta for plant-based, grain-free version healthier? And that's their headline, but really it's about 5 different foods where these swaps, they're saying maybe aren't healthier, or are they? They're asking us to consider that, and they're asking a nutritionist to weigh in. And then after this, we're going to be talking about 7 healthy habits that are actually bad for you from my new favorite site called Best Life Online. We did the Best Life version of this article before, actually, when it was, I think it was like 4 foods that are supposedly healthy but actually bad for you. So kind of a theme right now. But this Washington Post one, they go into 5 different things: plant-based creamers, grain-free cereals, hearts of palm pasta, cauliflower and chickpea rices, and plant-based chicken, to talk about each one, whether or not they're actually healthy for you. And I do wonder this sort of thing a lot. Like, we eat the Banza pasta a fair amount. It's expensive, so I'm trying to cut us back on it. And this is one of the ones, though, they get into here. In fact, we can address that first. I wonder about whole grains. Like, I think it's really easy to start thinking that whole grains aren't that healthy when they really are. And it's quite possible to, if you try to be too healthy, to start removing all the whole grains from your diet. And so that's the problem, according to the nutritionist person who helps out Washington Post here. It says grain-free cereals, that trading your morning shredded wheat or oatmeal for a grain-free cereal isn't necessarily a healthy food swap. These cereals can make you think that there's something wrong with eating grains, but that's not the case. Many studies show that including whole grains in your diet reduces the risk of heart disease, cancer, and more. And regular cereal can be a convenient way to get them. So, that's, I think, a pretty good argument for whole grains. The caveat here is with pasta and some other things too. Like, if it's ground into flour, while technically it's still whole because it's all there, you really do lose a lot of the value of the whole grain. It becomes much, much easier for your body to process and break down. And that's not a good thing. It actually takes, you want it to have to do that work to break it down. It becomes very easily absorbable. So I think still Banza pasta is a good swap for regular pasta sometimes. But in general, we don't need to get rid of grains. That's the point here.
Yeah. What is grain-free pasta? I mean, like, what are you eating? And I'm sorry, not pasta. Cereal.
Well, they do mention later that they say some grain-free cereals can be good for you, such as grain-free granolas. They're made typically from a combination of nuts and seeds. So I still can't imagine a cereal that is just nuts and seeds. But I think sometimes they can make maybe almond meal and then turn it into flakes or something, I would imagine. I don't know for sure. But anyway, yeah, nuts and seeds are great for you. And that is just like beans are great for you, right? So that's, I think, part of the temptation for me, swapping the Banza pasta in, because it's beans, chickpeas instead of wheat. As boring as it is, I think it's about balance. You got to get some whole grain sources. You actually want them to be whole. You don't want white flour, and you don't even want refined whole grain flour that much. But you also need nuts and seeds. They're really important. So you don't want to just eat all grains all the time.
Right. I just Googled grain-free cereal. Magic Spoon comes up. I've heard about them plenty of times. Never had it, but it's like a subscription cereal company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting.
At the bottom, by the way, it says often they're made with cassava, potato, and tapioca starches, or chickpea and lentil flour instead of grain. So, like, when it's chickpea and lentil flour, that's kind of good. That's like the Banza pasta. When you're talking about cassava, potato, and tapioca starches, so like we're replacing what was a whole food, a grain,
with a starch,
a partial food, right? That's probably not a good swap, even if it gets rid of the grains. And I think a lot of the grain thing is rooted in paleo ethos, that like we're just not meant to digest grains, especially gluten.
Yeah, right.
And it's not right. So never trust a paleo. That's what I say. One of the rules I live by.
Trust a
All right, on to the next, or actually back to the top of the article. Plant-based creamers And I think here what they mean is these little tiny things you put in coffee. You ever use coffee creamer, Doug?
No, I do
Me neither.
not, and I never have been into coffee creamer. But they do make. I do know that like Silk or I don't know, one of the main brands makes French, whatever coffee creamer that French vanilla
Yeah.
coffee creamer that comes in a big thing and you can pour it in.
They definitely smell unnatural, those things. Like when someone has a coffee with that in it, it just smells like a baked good or something. And that makes me think it must be full of all kinds of things that are not natural and make it smell like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, their point here is that so yes, you can get plant-based versions of these creamers, which means you're not getting the saturated fat that is in half and half or whatever they typically use. Apparently, a tablespoon they say has 20 calories and 1 gram of saturated fat if you're using the real thing. And if you swap in the plant-based one, you'll have 0 to 1 gram of saturated fat, 15 to 30 calories, so about the same. Could have added sugars though. More apparently happen in the plant-based versions than in regular half and half. And then also potentially emulsifiers like guar gum and carrageenan. So, additives get happen. So anyway, the point they're sort of mixed on that one. They don't say which is healthier. I think the broader point there is that small amount of something probably not going to hurt you either way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just
Yeah, I mean, what kind of the running theme throughout all of these is is to pay attention to the added sugar, because lots of times the alternatives will add a bunch of sugar in there, and you just need to be mindful of that.
yeah, right. All right, next, hearts of palm pasta, which I never knew that was happening.
No, neither did I.
So that's the latest low carb pasta alternative, the paleos again, which are cut up strips of the cream colored vegetable. So they're actually slicing it up into little bits. So it's I guess more like zucchini noodles kind of. But people say it's close to the taste and texture of the real thing. Very low in calories, 50 per cup versus 20 per cup of cooked spaghetti. And the person who's helping them here, Keating, I don't know what he or she is. Josephine. No, sorry, can't find who Keating is. But anyway, what they say is that that since most Americans don't eat enough vegetables, eating hearts of palm pasta is a good thing to do. So in this case, you're swapping probably a not whole grain, a refined wheat noodle for a whole vegetable that's just sliced up into little noodles. So yes, agreed. That's going to be healthier for you typically. Again, though, if you are eating whole grain pasta, or in general, don't remove all the grains from your diet. And then
it looks like it traditionally comes in like pre-cooked. Like
oh
most
yeah,
of these bags
okay.
I'm seeing.
I've seen that sort of thing done before with, I don't know, seaweed noodles or something. Where they come in like a little
interesting
wet pack. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like spaghetti or like linguine noodles or something.
Yeah, I just wouldn't do that. Would ruin pasta for me. And this is like a paleo article because now it's cauliflower and chickpea rices. I guess paleos don't eat chickpeas, but rice cauliflower, they say, excellent replacement for people looking to add more fiber-rich vegetables with a negative carb count. And rice made from chickpeas, though, isn't much lower in carbs than the rice we know, but it does offer more protein and fiber. So I guess we're assuming here that lowering carbs is good. I don't know. It seems like that is an implicit assumption. I would definitely not consider rice as a healthier choice than chickpeas, especially if you're talking about white rice. So I would say chickpeas, if it's just whole chickpeas going in there, probably better than white rice. Maybe not better than brown rice, which is more whole grain. So they say, but watch out for the sodium in these replacement products. And then finally, plant-based chicken. Let's see. They say what you would expect, that they're made out of soy and pea isolates. These plant-based proteins often. Most plant-based chicken, well, not most, but a lot of it is seitan. They don't get into that, but that's really not that much healthier. That's basically wheat gluten, which is almost like it's wheat protein isolate essentially. And then they say it's not clear whether replacing these meats meats with these alternatives has the same health benefits as eating the whole plant foods like beans, vegetables, and tofu. Maybe it's not clear, but I think it's pretty obvious that it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're missing the fiber and all like the good micronutrients. And they can also be higher in sodium. So anyway, what they don't get into is like, how do you benefit by not having the meat, right? Maybe you're not getting the benefits of vegetables when you swap this in, but are you losing out on anti benefits? Are you missing the dangers of eating meat? And there are some for sure. So they don't get into that, but they do say if mock meats make it easier for you to start eating a more plant-based diet, then having them a few times a week is fine.
I would say this article is definitively bad.
Yeah, even from your favorite unbalanced news source.
I don't know.
Not
It just doesn't really
unbiased.
tell you anything. It doesn't like what I want to know is like do some side by side comparisons of some nutrient profiles, and tell me, give me a definitive answer.
Right.
Should I be swapping chickpea rice for or swapping brown rice for chickpea
Yeah,
rice?
that's a good point.
Uh,
They really don't take a side on any of those for the most part.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just not crazy about this one, but it's interesting to think about. What's your like obviously excluding meat and dairy alternatives. So you do chickpea pasta, you do buns pasta, I think you do cauliflower pizza crust
Which are also
sometimes,
bonza, yeah. No, I
which
think
are
I think
also
those are
bonza.
they're just made from chickpeas, I think. But I do sometimes have cauliflower crust. That's right.
Okay. So like what's your most common healthy quote unquote
Swap like
substitute,
that.
you think? Mm-hmm.
That's probably it. I don't
Yeah.
think I have a whole lot of those things. I don't know. Do you? I mean, plant cheese, obviously made from nuts instead of
Right.
cheese. Somehow that feels like a different category.
Yeah, the cheese and egg and stuff like that feels a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I've like tried really hard recently to not eat like fried snacks anymore, like chips. Like I eat nuts all the time as my snack. Nuts or fruit is like even when I kind of want chips or something, I'll just have that instead. So that's a swap, but it's not like it's a manufactured food made out of chips made out of nuts or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you? Do you have any of those?
No, I don't know. I mean, we do the chickpea pasta.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really into the cauliflower crust or anything like that. So I don't know. We do vegan yogurt every once in a while, which is definitely not all that. Well, I don't know how it compares to other yogurts that probably have just as much sugar, but vegan yogurt is not a health food, I would say.
Right. Probably not.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right. People are commenting here. Some good stuff. Aisha says, first of all, she points out what you said, Doug, is that if the things are doused in sugar, then even if they have whole grains, it doesn't matter. And I think she's talking about cereal here, where yeah, that's a huge problem with cereals. She also says the starch situation is also the problem with the gluten-free movement. And I do think that's a big thing here, right? When you swap out gluten or grains and you swap in starches, questionable whether that's a good thing or not. Emery says they sell hearts of palm pasta at Trader Joe's. It was invaluable taking on a trip once. So that's interesting that you could, for convenience reasons, decide to use this pre-cooked, well, not pre-cooked, but this pasta. So that's kind of cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Aisha says people are too lazy to do that research in these types of articles, Doug. She's calling out your favorite publication. Second favorite. NPR probably number one. Then Washington Post.
I wouldn't even put Washington Post in the top 3, but
Yeah.
but I do tend to send you Washington Post articles.
Yeah.
Like, is that why you say that?
You send me NPR and Washington Post all the time.
Yeah. This is it. At the top, it says it was written by Consumer Reports.
Yeah, right.
Or
yeah, that's a good point. So they're just republishing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, on to the next one. My favorite site now, Best Life Online.
Yeah,
I actually went and dug into the archives for this. I still couldn't find much to talk about today, so I started looking. What did they publish like a month ago? And found this from January 29th, almost exactly a month ago. 7 healthy habits that are actually bad for you. I also found one about what happens when you take a cold shower every day for a month. So we'll get into that in the near future because you've been doing those creek dips.
Oh yeah,
might shed some light.
Please do.
Anyway, this one's 7 healthy habits that are actually bad for you. I liked when we did this before with food from them. So we're going to cover these. Number 1, this is what I've been doing. Exercising every day is actually bad for you. They tell us here. Compared to what? We don't know. I think compared to no exercise is bad for you, or compared to an optimal amount of exercise, maybe that's what they mean. Whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
the point is there's absolutely too much of a good thing, says board certified family physician Laura Purdy, MD. Overuse and overtraining injuries can happen, tendonitis, muscle strain, stress fractures, and even just fatigue and exhaustion. So mindlessly exercising every day, for sure, bad if you just ignore what your body tells you. But I think you might be able to do it in a way where you don't get injured. You sort of dial it back a little bit when you're feeling it. You do some recovery. I don't know. I'm not convinced it's a bad thing.
I hate this one. If we weren't if this wasn't your favorite publication and expertly, or what is it, expert based,
expert based,
and if we weren't just looking for content here, I would have stopped reading this article after reading the first headline. Because of course, over exercising every day, where you're getting overuse injuries and you're worrying about exhaustion
Right.
and heat exhaustion and stress fractures. Yeah, that's going to be bad for you. Exercising every day, going on walks, going to, I don't know,
Right.
doing some light lifting or a little jog. Like, there's no way that is bad for you or worse than anything else. Or worse than the alternative of just sitting around. So oh man.
But imagine all those
like
people, imagine the social media goers who read this and they start forwarding it around to everyone they know because they don't exercise that much, and they start, now they have a little data point to back up their stance.
I know that is the problem. That is the problem. That's why I don't like this, because
right
now somebody's gonna read this and be like, "Well, I exercised yesterday, so
yeah, or last week.
I should just sit on the couch and drink."
Yeah, right. So it's very important that we exercise in moderation and only when we've been cleared by our doctor, and know that activities are safe for us to engage in. So I mean, they do always say that before starting any exercise program, consult your doctor.
Well, that's right.
If everyone did that, though, I mean, there would not be a whole lot of exercising going on, because it's hard enough to get yourself started anyway, without having to go to the doctor and get cleared first. But
can you just go ahead and tell people, clear people, or
as a medical doctor, can I clear people? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to. People put that for a reason. Legalese, you need to cover your ass, I guess. So we need to have the same policy here. Don't do anything we say unless you first talk to a doctor besides us.
Not a doctor.
We're not that.
I used to say she's out. Clickbait.
She's out. No, this is so good. It gets better. Let's move on.
Okay.
Number 2, sleeping in on the weekends. They say, so the idea here is that a lot of people don't get enough sleep, and then on the weekends they catch up. And so I think what they're saying is, not compared to spreading that same sleep out over the week, because obviously that would be better. But they're saying if you just don't get enough sleep in the week and then you try to catch up more on the weekends, that's actually still bad. Because a 2017 study found that women who slept 2 or more extra hours on the weekends in order to catch up were more likely to have poor heart health than those who didn't catch more Z's on the weekend. I don't know for sure that they're not talking about spreading the sleep around the whole week. But anyway, it says, and I think this is right. Like, you really don't want to mess with your sleep rhythms. If you get an Oura Ring or any other sleep tracker, I'm sure they will talk to you a lot about, they'll tell you many times in the app or whatever, not to try to change your sleep cycle, because like our bodies naturally don't have a weekend built into them in the way we are evolved. So to have suddenly your schedule shifts by 2 hours up later and 2 hours sleeping later or whatever, which is probably what a lot of people do, that's not good. It really can mess up. And then every single week you're having to reset and get messed up again. So I do understand that. And maybe it's better just to, like, even if you're not sleeping enough, just keep that cycle going at least. So your body's not confused. Yeah. So that's what they talk. I mean, that's the point here. And maybe they're right.
Maybe the answer, and I have no idea, but maybe the answer is to take some naps, I mean, because if you've had a couple poor nights of sleep and your body just needs sleep, maybe the answer is to stick to that schedule of what you should be doing or what you usually intend to have, but then find some sleep elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sleep experts will say naps can be good as long as they're not too long and as long as they're not too late. Because if you do one of those, then you will disrupt the schedule in a different way. But I think it's a good answer.
What is too long and too late?
Usually they say around 30 minutes is like the good nap time. Once you get beyond that, I think it could potentially mess up your sleep. I don't know what too late is, but I think after about 2 p.m. I may have read before that
Yeah.
because you accumulate some sort of hormone or something that is your tiredness hormone, and when you nap, you reset a lot of it, so then you don't have it at actual bedtime.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, having a cup of herbal tea before bed. And they start to get off. Well, not yet, they don't, but eventually there's a problem with what they're saying. In this case, they're saying no, herbal tea, just because it's herbal and doesn't have caffeine, which I think it's still could like yerba mate. I think we discussed this a long time ago. You thought yerba mate was caffeine free. First you thought matcha was caffeine free, then you thought yerba mate was caffeine free, and then it turned out you've been giving it to your kids since birth, like feeding it to them, like in their infant formula.
Yeah.
But so just because it's herbal doesn't even mean it's caffeine free. I think in the case of yerba mate, it almost always is. So I'm not totally sure about that clarification. But the other point is, just because it's herbal and doesn't have caffeine doesn't mean it won't keep you awake. Like they can be a stimulant that's not caffeine. Anyway, the person, Ashley Haywood, here says she's founder of the artisan tea company Embrew. She says there is a misnomer that all herbal teas are caffeine free. That's not a misnomer. That's a misconception. A misnomer is when something is named wrongly, right? So Ashley needs to get her vocabulary straight here.
So there's a misconception, the misnomer,
right,
that we should trust an expert who doesn't know how to know English.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. I mess up words all the time. So anyone who's listened to this podcast knows I screw up words all the time. So
okay. So anyway, she says, but if a tea is marketed as herbal, it simply means it's not from the Camellia sinensis plant, which I think is the tea plant. So ginseng, ginkgo, guarana are all actually energizing. So anyway, you got to be careful there. Might keep you up, your tea.
That's why you get the sleepy time tea.
Yeah, that probably is not usually stimulating. They probably have made sure of that.
If they make a sleepy time tea that's stimulating, then we're in trouble.
Yeah. Okay, number 4, unwinding with a glass of red wine. We don't like this one. I don't like this one, Doug. Another popular way to relax may not be the heart healthy sip you hope it is. And
what?
I know. They mentioned the JAMA Network Open November 2022 study that found that any amount of alcohol is detrimental to your health. And that's true. There, as we've heard before, there is no safe level of drinking. So it's not good. They don't really mention the sleep thing. I mean, they talk about unwinding or relaxing. I guess they're not talking about winding down for sleep anymore. That was the previous one. So never mind about that, because it doesn't actually help you sleep better. But yeah, the point here is that it's harmful, and it doesn't really appear to have many cardiovascular benefits like people thought that it did. You still got to wonder about the sort of social thing, and is there value in being able to relax, especially with someone else, aided by something like this? And I don't know. It would be nice to think that there is, but I don't know. The more I learn, the more I really think it's not really a healthy behavior, but it's an enjoyable one.
That it is.
So anyway, not necessarily healthy. Number 5, getting a tan. So just in case it's 1970 or 1960 and you think that maybe getting tans is healthy, Best Life is here to remind you that it is not. It can actually cause skin cancer.
Why, Matt? I can't imagine. I cannot.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to imagine how it could be bad, but it is. It says always wear sunscreen on any exposed skin, and even if you have a tan, please use sunless tanning products. See, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I can go that far. Like, should you always wear sunscreen on any exposed skin, or is maybe a little bit natural, right?
I mean, it is. I don't know. I mean, you got to get your vitamin D somehow, right?
Right.
A little bit of sun exposures. I don't know.
Right.
Dave Bob says yes, all sun exposure is bad. Or it didn't say that last part. Just said yes. But,
yeah, I mean that's fair. I do think people have that opinion, and I honestly don't know whether it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. It suggests using sunless tanning products. I don't know what actually sunless tanning products are, but I feel like dyeing your skin is probably not a good thing.
Right. Probably not. Maybe there are certain ones that are okay for you, but we won't know that for many years, perhaps. So
Yeah.
rolling the dice. Yeah. So no surprise there. It seems like Best Life Online likes to go to that one a lot. They like to pretend that people don't realize that it's bad to get sunburn and things, and so they put that in like these things you didn't know. Remember, like you had no idea it was causing cancer. It was the last article, and sun exposure was one of them. All right, number 6. And here's where I started to have a problem with the headline. Cutting out all sugar, they say. So the point is one that's interesting. They also make a point that I like. The interesting one is that although refined sugar intake is linked to all kinds of conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, a study in May 2014 edition of the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that added sugar consumption was not linked to an increased risk for death after following more than 350,000 adults for more than 10 years. So I never knew that. That's quite interesting to me because I think sugar has this reputation as being like, fat and carbohydrates and protein, they all go in and out of vogue. But we kind of all know that sugar's bad and no one's really going to convince us it's not. The exception for me when it's in like a whole fruit form, that is different. But yeah, added sugar, right? Just no one's arguing that that's a good thing. So really interesting that this study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found this. I don't know if there have been other studies that have been able to replicate that, but first time I've heard about it. So I will look more into that. They also later make the point that the AHA, American Heart Association, doesn't distinguish between types of sugar. So while you may think that so-called natural sugars are better, that may not matter so much. Your body has no idea if the sugar came from table sugar, honey, or agave nectar. That's the point I've been trying to make for a while. That right. The research demonstrates that it doesn't. Your body doesn't know. It doesn't know that your sugar is organic or that it's cane sugar, as if that's a sales point in things, and instead of high fructose corn syrup. It's the same thing. It's sugar. It's not good for you.
Right.
All right. So
yeah, I think a lot of people misunderstand that. Yeah.
So here's my problem. The headline of the article, I will remind you, is 7 healthy habits that are actually bad for you, according to doctors. So they've established here, they've cited a study that says that cutting out all sugar doesn't necessarily make you live longer. But it doesn't mean it's actually bad for you. Right? Like there's nothing bad for you about cutting out all sugar. Now, if you cut out all sugar and stopped eating fruit and basically stopped eating energy, that'd be bad. But it's just
good point.
It's not. Yeah. So it's like if you're scanning this list, if you're a social media guy and you're just scanning the list and say, okay, I shouldn't exercise every day, shouldn't cut out sugar because these things are bad for me. Right. It's not good. Finally, number 7, drinking kombucha. They say that mainly they're talking about sugar content in kombucha.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing. Dr. Greger, interestingly enough, is like really anti-kombucha. If you look at How Not to Die, and I think maybe on his website too, he cites a few different cases of like mysterious deaths, and the link between several of them was people were drinking kombucha. I think especially homemade kombucha. Yeah. So that actually made me stop drinking it. I tend to trust him. I tend to trust Greger with most things. And you know what? I never liked it that much anyway.
Did you drink it for health reasons before?
It was like a mix. It was like I thought like I was drinking a healthy drink that also tasted kind of good. Yeah. But then once I started to think it wasn't good for me, like all appeal of the taste went away.
Interesting. I'm like a once a month kombucha drinker.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be good as an alcohol replacement. It feels like has a little bit of a funk to it, like an alcohol, like a beer does.
Yeah.
That's good. Sometimes it does have alcohol in it, by the way. Even like the ones you buy in grocery stores have, maybe they're like less than 0.5%. Same like the non-alcoholic beers. So, yeah, I don't know.
But you can have hard kombucha too. I mean, they make that's a thing.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that's
also THC kombucha is a thing.
Oh, really?
CBD kombucha.
Can you buy THC?
They put everything
Where
in kombucha.
do you buy THC kombucha?
I mean, I don't, but it's a thing.
But can you get it in like a normal store? in this in these states?
Not in North and South Carolina. No.
Good. Otherwise, I would have to move. Violate my
'Cause-
ideals.
Okay, all right, Matt. Whatever you say.
All right. Any other fun comments in the comment section here?
Yeah, we got a couple in here.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You read them.
You just pinned one.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well, what I pinned was Leslie and hormones can be measurably off. Oh, at Leslie. And hormones can be measurably off after just a few days, leading to weight gain. That
was
might mean something in
after the
context.
decreased sleep loads to elevated cortisol levels, increasing stress to the heart.
Okay.
On the heart.
Right. So I did not mean to pin that content. That comment.
Okay. Yeah, that was like part of a whole conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way out of context for everything. But here's an interesting one. Aisha says, I just heard from biologist Gary Brecka says that first light is the safest sun exposure and necessary for healthy vitamin D. That dawn/sunrise for 20 minutes is considered first light.
Oh, okay. Well, that's there's a couple times now I've come across things that have made me think I should go outside in the morning. Now this wouldn't be first light. This is when I decide I'm ready to get out of bed. But still, it seems like going out in the morning might be a good thing for a lot of reasons, to set your clock and all that. You know, remind yourself that you live in an actual world and not like in a computer. Seems like it would be good. So, and apparently it's good for sleep. So I'm thinking I'm going to try that. I said that before, but I really do intend to try that.
Good.
Yeah. But so first light, huh? And why would that be better? Why would that be just because there's not a whole lot of it? It's not intense.
It's probably like at the horizon, maybe not as intense. Maybe less UV rays in the atmosphere. I'm making all that up. I have no idea.
Well, it has more atmosphere to filter through as it goes, if it's coming not straight down into it. Yeah, okay. So that sort of sounds like there's no safe level of sun exposure. And so the minimum you can do is the better. And if you want any, just get it in the very start of the day when it's very little. Sort of sounds like the same boat as alcohol.
Yeah.
Hard to believe that the sun could be unhealthy.
It is kind of hard to believe, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Okay, Kat adds one thing about sugar here. I'm going to put it up. Fructose from added sugars was associated with hypertension. Fructose from natural fruits is not. And that's just one thing. That's hypertension, blood pressure, but true of a lot of things. True of blood sugar spikes as well. He has some interesting data about that, or study that he cites. So yeah, I don't listen to a paleo who's telling you that fruit is bad. That's the moral of the story today.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Before we sign off, if anyone could comment, I did some different things to my internet. If I've been blurry all day today, or cut out.
It's blurry now, grainy at least.
Oh man, dang.
When did you do these things to your internet? Right now, while we were on here?
Well, I just turned my other laptop off and took it off the internet. I don't know. Just trying to minimize what internet usage is being.
It's your kids inside streaming Cat in the Hat or something, probably.
They're not home. Nobody's home.
Did they leave Cat in the Hat on?
Maybe. Oh man, that's a good show.
Yeah, I like that Cat in the Hat show.
And the thingamajigger.
Yeah, with Martin Short. Is that guy name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have fond memories of watching that Cat in the Hat show. All right.
That's it for me.
Yep, sounds good,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks for coming. We'll be back on tomorrow, Wednesday. So enjoy the rest of your day. Tuesday, last day of February. Last February 28th, you'll experience for 2 years, I think. No, that's wrong. The last time you'll get to experience February 28th as the last day of the month for 2 years. Right? You have a 2-year period until you'll get that again.
I don't know. You said at the beginning that you think
I
next
still
year's
don't
leap
even
year. Yeah. Man, this is not expertly fact checked.
Yeah, it's a leap year. Next year's a leap year.
Okay.
Get ready.
All right. Good.
That show's gonna be a great one. 29th February,
Oh,
if
man.
it's a weekday, and if the show still exists.
That's twice you've
Kaufman
said that
doesn't
in the
laid
last,
everybody
like,
off. Yeah.
yeah.
If you've survived the round of layoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that you'll be hosting this solo
Yeah.
because
Right.
I'll be
Right.
unemployed.
Very possible. All right.
And I'm definitely not hosting this show if I'm unemployed. That's for sure.
All right.
No.
That's
All right.
all. Thanks everyone for
Thanks,
listening.
everybody.
We'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye.